Amy Ruman has won the last 2 Trans Am Series championships. But the last 2 Trans Am races have gone to 19-year-old phenom Ernie Francis Jr. The defending champ is about to try to turn things back in her direction on the twisting turns and rough surface of Belle Isle. We're in Detroit, the only street course on the Trans Am schedule. It's time for America's Road Racing Series. Next. Welcome to Belle Isle in Detroit, Michigan. Trans Am presented by Pirelli. Coverage of Trans Am America's Road Racing Series. Today it's the three-dimensional services group Motor City 100. Hello again, everyone. I'm Rick Benjamin. NASCAR star Michael McDowell joins me for the call in a moment. Ashley Van Dyke is with us this season down on pit road. Glad to be rejoining you for coverage of Trans Am. We're at Belle Isle in Detroit, a historic racetrack for this series. First street course event of 2017 for Trans Am. It's been a wild season so far. One driver in the spotlight is the 2-time defending series champion, Amy Ruman. She hasn't won yet this season. She's looking to break through here in the city of Detroit. She's standing by with Ashley.
Thanks, Rick. I'm down here with Amy Ruman, 2-time defending Trans Am Series champion and driver of the number 23 McNichols Company. Tell us, Amy, you've had some struggles this weekend. How's your weekend gone for you so far?
We didn't bring our A game. We've had some mechanical issues yesterday. We only got about 6 laps on the track. We were battling clutch problems all weekend. So the guys sorted it out late last night. We should be good to go today. We'll have an exciting race coming from the back, but that's okay. This McNichols 23 has been fast around here before, so we should be okay.
Aside from being a street course and the only one you visit this year, how else is Detroit unique?
I mean, the fans here are great. They put on a wonderful show. There's so much stuff for people to see and do. There's all kinds of great racing. And then, I mean, what's more exciting than street racing? It's a great course. A little bumpy. Everyone complains about that. But overall, I love coming to Detroit. It's fun.
Amy's going to be starting on fresh rubber today because she missed qualifying. Good luck to you, Amy.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, Amy Ruman failing to post a qualifying time. She'll have her work cut out for her today here in Belle Isle. Michael McDowell, this is a historic racetrack. They brought this Grand Prix of Detroit back several years ago. Roger Penske's group did. Look at this. You've got 13 turns, about 2.4 miles of city street.
And absolutely, you got concrete, both sides, tight, twisty, bumpy, very technical. You got to be on your game. You miss it by just an inch and you get into that wall.
You've run plenty of street circuits over the years. This is one of those places, as you say, the groove isn't very wide here. Passing opportunities are hard to come by.
When you make a pass, you got to know that you're in there. You got to stay with it. You have to commit. If you get side by side for too long, it just sets you up for failure.
Take a look at the championship standings. Ernie Francis Jr. with 2 wins in a row to start this season. Still very early in 2017. Moving up from TA4, he's had a terrific start to his year. He's the points leader by 13 over Amy Ruman. Cliff Eben, Vinny Allegretta, who starts on the front row, and veteran Tommy Dreese is back. They round out the first 5 in championship points. After 3 rounds, the chase for the Trigon Trophy here in Trans Am. Field is away. Michael McDowell behind the safety car, getting ready to go here. How impressed are you with Ernie Francis Jr. with that high horsepower race car this year?
Well, we were looking forward to this year. We knew that he had a lot of speed, TA3, TA4, but not a lot of competition for Ernie Francis Jr. Now he's with the big boys and girls. He's doing a great job showing his speeds. He already got 2 wins this year. We'll see if he can make it 3.
Starting grid top of your screen. This is our 5th starter, the GoShare Chevrolet Claudio Burton. Tommy Dreese back full-time in Trans Am. He'll start 3rd. That's a Mustang-bodied car out of the Tony Abe Racing Shops.
It wasn't because of the Corvette versus the Mustang. It was more to try a new chassis, a different style chassis, to see if we can get a little more front grip in the car. I love that, and that's what I need. And you know, I won my first street race at the Long Beach Grand Prix in a Mustang, so maybe we'll have something for Detroit.
And who do you have on the car this weekend? The War for the Planet of the Apes coming out July 14th?
Yeah. Thank you to the sponsor, Fox, and it's a great movie. You can check out the trailers right now, and looking forward to a big opening.
Are we going to see it?
Yes, I'm going to go see it for sure.
Okay, good. Good luck today. Starting third, Tommy Dreese.
Thank you very much, guys.
Tommy Dreese, former Trans Am champion back in the day. He will line up in row number 2. Lights out on the safety car, down the front straightaway, getting set to go on our first Trans Am broadcast of the season. Glad to have you with us in Belle Isle in Detroit, and we are underway. Ernie Francis Jr. on the pole on the inside. That's Vinny Allegretta alongside, and Ernie Francis grabs the lead.
Nice clean start there. It's very difficult. Turn 1, 2, very tight. They seem like they got it sorted out.
Claudio Burton back in 5th spot. 3rd, Simon Gregg contesting with Tommy Dreese. They're side by side, little beating and banging there.
Side by side, trying to pull off the pass heading down into turn 3. Looks like he's got it covered.
Amy Ruman back there in 6th. Dreese moves to the inside to grab 3rd. 5th is Burton. He comes up alongside Simon Gregg and has to hammer the brakes down into that right-hander.
Tried the over-under, just wasn't able to pull it off.
Ernie Francis Jr. moving up from TA3, TA4 specifically the last couple of years. Same team, breathless performance. Here comes Amy Ruman now challenging Claudio Burton for position. But Ernie Francis Jr., a car that's almost twice as much in terms of horsepower. How impressed are you with the 2 victories he's got so far this year?
Very impressed, but not surprised. We've seen speed, we've seen consistency. He's a young man, but he's been fast, so it's not a shocker that he's already got the victory lane twice. He's 19 years old, he's full of fire, he's on the gas, and he's brought a lot of intensity to this TA category.
Watching the cars fighting for 5th, that's Claudio Burton in the GoShare Chevrolet, the 7 car. Right behind him, the 2-time champion Amy Ruman out of Ohio, who we heard from earlier. That fight for 5th raging here on the backstretch at Belle Isle, down into one of the right-handers. Fast section. Oh, and trouble for Burton.
Oh, looks like he might have a little bit of engine trouble. That thing's pouring out a lot of smoke on the headers.
Claudio Burton out of the gas. Amy Ruman passed and moving into 5th spot. Here comes A.J. Hendrickson to pick up a position as well. So Claudio Burton in the GoShare Chevrolet. Looks like his day may be done. He's got it offline, and he is going to try to get that car to pit road without putting down too much in the way of fluid if we can avoid that here on the surface. May not go any further. Here's what happens.
Oh, you can hear it right there. As soon as he got to top RPM, sounded like it sucked the valve, and that'll be the end of his day.
So Burton off the pace. We'll have at least a local yellow. Safety car is out. We stay green. It's still Ernie Francis, your leader in the 98. Vinny Allegretta and the TA Sights and Sounds 41, and talked to him earlier about the sponsor on that car. That's one of Vinny's businesses. The TA Sights and Sounds, those are his wife's initials, TA. That's not for Trans Am, so we did get that clarified. But Vinny Allegretta doing a terrific job here, being able to stick right with Ernie Francis Jr. in the fight for the lead. Oh, trouble for Vinny as he locks up the brakes, maybe.
Vinny's pushing hard, doing a great job hanging right on the bumper of Ernie Francis there. Got in a little deep, and that's what's hard about concrete surfaces. You're going through the streets, it's a lot of bumps. That tire gets light while you're on the brake. Very easy to lock it up and smoke it like we just saw.
Corner workers putting out the double yellow flags. Full course caution being displayed because of the disabled car of Claudio Burton. A lot of changes in Trans Am for 2017. Michael McDowell, one of the biggest, a brand new tire provider. Pirelli, now the presenting sponsor of the series. This is a brand new tire package. Pirelli radials on all these cars.
And Pirelli's no stranger to the racing. They're at every form. They brought a great tire here. You know, these Trans Am teams are going to have to adapt to a new manufacturer, but Pirelli's done a great job.
It's been a long process, but we're glad to have Pirelli in the series. As Bob Ruman watches his daughter compete, she's 5th behind Ernie Francis Jr.
Trans Am on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by 3-Dimensional Services Group. Prototype, production, proven. By GoShare, your friend with a truck. And by Pirelli, power is nothing without control.
Back in Detroit, the 3-Dimensional Services Group Motor City 100 for the Trans Am Series. I'm Rick Benjamin, Michael McDowell alongside. Under caution, an issue with Claudio Burton's motor. Take a look at this 9 car, Mike. A Dodge Challenger. Dodge coming back to Trans Am Racing. This is Jeff Hinkle's 9 car, and the sponsor on this car is GoGoCreate.com.
A great looking Dodge, the only Dodge in the TA field. Didn't look so good after practice. Heavy body damage. They actually didn't have the spare body work here in Detroit. Had to fly it in just to be able to make the TA field for this race.
Hinkle on track at the back of the pack right now, but hoping to move up as we move deeper into today's Trans Am 100 here in Detroit. Safety car is in. Ernie Francis Jr. leads them back to green. Little right-hand kink in the front straightaway here on the streets of Belle Isle in Detroit. This is the traditional circuit that goes back to the late 1980s. Down into turn one, a right-hander, very short run there into one, and then a quick turn back left side and a little elevation change, a little bridge to cross here.
It's so much fun watching these Trans Am cars on street courses. Me growing up as a kid watching Trans Am, you remember Long Beach, Detroit, all these great street races, and to see them back here again at Belle Isle is a lot of fun for me.
Simon Gregg has his hands full. Gregg in the 59, the Durhak Motorsports Chevrolet. Past champion Amy Ruman trying to get by and move up. Amy second in points right now, hasn't won a race yet here in 2017. She's trying to make it 3 Trans Am titles in a row.
Well, Amy's been so dominant over the years, but like she said, this weekend's been a struggle. Having some clutch issues early on, not a lot of practice. Started at the back of the TA field, done a great job of working her way into the top 5, but now it's whether or not she has the speed to get on the podium.
Pirelli running order, top of your screen, as we will keep you posted on where your favorite driver sits all throughout the day. Ruman with an inside bid here, can't quite get the job done. Ashley Van Dyke telling us from pit road, the 7 team, Claudia Burton's GoShare Chevrolet, they had drivetrain issues, certainly. That car has gone back to the paddock, and he is done for the day. On board here with Simon Gregg in the Durhak Chevrolet as he tries to get close to Tommy Dreese and fight it out for 3rd.
These onboards are so great. Makes you feel like you are literally driving the race car. I wish we could stay there for an entire lap. So much fun to hear those cars go around Detroit.
So 3rd, 4th, and 5th very much in play. Dreese is 3rd, Gregg is 4th, Amy Ruman is 5th now. Clock is running, 1 hour timed race here on the streets of Detroit. Back a little further, the ECC Chevrolet of veteran A.J. Hendrickson will do battle in Trans Am and sometimes in TA2, which we'll see next week here on CBS Sports Network.
And we see Ernie Francis Jr. leading this race. I thought that Belle Isle would be the most challenge for Ernie. And the reason it is, we talked about it earlier, lots of horsepower, very easy to spin the tires. These cars do not have traction control, big engines in them, and as you go across those bumps, very easy to make a mistake. So coming into this race, I thought that this might be the place where somebody could challenge Ernie Francis Jr., but it looks like he's doing a great job.
Ernie Francis Jr. from the pole has led all the way so far. On board here with Tommy Dreese in that Ford Mustang out of the Tony Ave shops, the 8 car. He's got Simon Gregg filling his mirrors right now. You get a sense of how narrow this place is. And the NASCAR Cup Series where you race, Mike, doesn't run on street courses at this point. But, boy, a street circuit like this, you've been on lots of them over the years. These walls really kind of hem you in, don't they?
Absolutely. And these TA cars are so close, it's very difficult to pass. But what you can do is you can get left, you can get right, you can get in that driver's mirror, you can get in that driver's head, maybe make a little bit of mistake and get wide and then pounce. So as for me, I'm looking at the opportunities. Tommy Dreese's a veteran. He's a champion. How are you going to get him to make a mistake? Well, you got to put some pressure on him, and that's what Simon Gregg's doing right now, putting the pressure on Tommy Dreese.
Down the backstretch into one of the right-handers here on Belle Isle, one of the higher speed sections of this course as the field starts to separate just a little. But this is 3rd, 4th, and 5th, nose to tail. Great battle here, the Planet of the Apes Ford of Dreese, the 59 car of Gregg, the McNichols Chevrolet of Amy Ruman. On board here with Simon Gregg as Dreese's on the brakes.
And that is the opportunity to pass right there. You got a long straightaway, kind of bends, but you get a little bit of a draft from the car in front. That's the greatest opportunity to get an out break. Simon wasn't quite close enough to do it, but he knows going into the next lap, that's the spot to do it.
Now, if you're Dreese, you're trying to make that car as wide as possible. Is he holding up Simon and Amy here?
Well, you can see, obviously, you have 2 cars behind Tommy Dreese. I don't think he's holding them up per se, but one thing I love about Tommy Dreese, over the years, he's always give us a great amount of entertainment, laying it out on the racetrack. He's had some heated moment with drivers at time. I love it. I love it from a spectator standpoint and calling these races because I know he's going to give us something exciting to watch.
Tommy Dreese's raced at a lot of different levels. He runs occasionally in the NASCAR Xfinity Series on road courses. He has spent plenty of time in other sports car series, back full-time in Trans Am after his 1-year suspension was served. Here's Amy Ruman diving again to the inside of Simon Gregg. Cannot get by the 59 car. All of that stemming from an incident 2 seasons ago at Mid-Ohio, where we'll have coverage later this summer. Amy Ruman, Tommy Dreese got together in quite a heated duel. There was contact. Dreese was given a 1-year suspension by SCCA Pro Racing, the sanctioning body for Trans Am. He served that time, and now he's back.
Not only is he back, but he's coming back with a vengeance on the podium right now. Not sure if he's going to be able to hold off Simon Gregg and Amy Ruman, but Tommy Dreese, you never know. He's got the speed in that Mustang.
Amy Ruman up through the gears onto the front stretch here, back in 5th position. Simon Gregg right now just a car length or so behind Dreese. That battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th. Here's Hendrickson in the ECC Chevrolet, the 44 car. How about a tribute paint scheme? If you're old school like I am, that is the Group 44 color scheme from the great Bob Tullius back in the day, who ran Trans Am and a host of other series. So kind of a tribute car for A.J. Hendrickson this weekend.
And A.J. Hendrickson, a lot of experience in racing. I race with him in ARCA and NASCAR. He's done about everything. He's a dirt racer. He's a road course racer. He's doing a good job. Doesn't seem to quite have the speed to hang on to this top group, but if they get battling, he'll suck right up to them.
Hendrickson teammates with Adam Andretti, who will be with us in the TA2 portion of our Trans Am coverage from the streets of Belle Isle in Detroit. You'll see that show next week here on CBS Sports Network. So the 44 of Adam Andretti back in the garage area. Adam sat out some time last season, but he's back with a vengeance this year. There's Jeff Hinkle in that Dodge Challenger. Now, this is an older version of the Challenger body. Kerry Hitt's team working on some new body work. And here's Kerry in his Cadillac-bodied 19 car, the veteran, the Advanced Composite Products group here out of Pennsylvania. We're looking forward to seeing Kerry's rendition of the TA Challenger. Should be a very swoopy piece when it comes out, possibly at Indianapolis in the weeks to come.
Oh, it's so great to see all these retro body styles on these TA cars. When I think of Trans Am, I think of retro. I think of big tires, big horsepower, cool bodies, and that's what we have again this year. We see the Mustang with brand new Corvette, the Challenger coming. You got the Cadillac in here.
Trouble. Amy Ruman has stopped on course. Some flames coming out of the right side headers on the 23 car.
And Amy Ruman's championship bid continues to have struggles this year.
Amy second in points. Looks like she stalled it. Maybe that's just fuel dumping out of the headers there. She hasn't refired. She spun, it appears. She's got to turn that car and get it back pointed in the right direction. Traffic coming. Local yellow being waved there. Corner worker just with one of the caution flags displayed. Amy is back away. All right, Michael, tell me why that car was pouring flames out of the headers.
Well, what happens is you're running these cars, the exhaust is hot, everything's hot. When you do stall it, these cars still have carburetors on it. It's flooding that motor with fuel, and it has nowhere to go but to burn off right there.
Take a look at what happened to Amy exiting the corner. She does go around, and A.J. Hendrickson right there. He had to take evasive action. So Amy to pit road.
Well, obviously that spin might have led to something that Amy had going on with the car. We don't see a lot of mistakes out of her. The team is looking over it right now. There might be an issue.
Hood is off. The McNichols team taking a look there at that Chevrolet motor. Car is running right now. Remember, they've had problems with the front end of that car, with the cooling system, with the engine, with the clutch earlier. Trans Am officials, that's Mike Dallin back there watching things. Wally Dallin back, now the chief steward of Trans Am. Hood goes back on the 23 car.
And the biggest thing for Amy and her crew right now, obviously they're not going to get a win, they're not going to get a podium, but they need to get all the points they can. They're going for their 3rd straight championship, so every spot, every point counts, and she's got to get back out there and get the most of the day.
So Amy Ruman will head back out on the racetrack and rejoin the field at the tail. Tough break for Amy, the 2-time defending champ. Fans enjoying the show, the 3-dimensional services group, Motor City 100. We'll be back.
So for this weekend and starting at the last 2 weekends, we've had the Bonacani Fund on board with us as one of our partners. We're really excited to be working with them. They're a really big charity into trying to find a cure for paralysis. And being that paralysis is a big thing in the racing community, it happens to drivers out there, that it's a big thing we want to try and support and see if we can try and promote them as much as possible, try and find a cure for it.
Ernie Francis Jr.'s team working with Mark Bonaconti there in the power chair. Mark, the son of the great NFL star Nick Bonaconti, injured in a college football game back in 1985, which led to the creation of the Miami Project to cure paralysis. The 98 car carrying the logo of the Bonaconti Fund. That's the fundraising arm of the Miami Project. Safety car is in. We're restarting here in Detroit. Out onto the front straightaway here at Belle Isle. We are back underway.
Another clean restart. Ernie Francis doing a great job executing. And as a driver, this is where you win or lose races, or on that restart. He's had speed, he's had it all together, but it only takes one slip up and they can pounce on you.
On board with Tommy Dreese's Ford, the 8 car sitting in 3rd spot. Behind Allegretta and the Chevrolet, the 41 car. Simon Gregg, A.J. Hendrickson, the rest of the top 5. What happened to Amy Ruman, Ashley?
Down here with Dave Skinner, crew chief of the 23 Ruman car. We just saw Amy come to a slow on course and then come to make a pit stop. What happened?
Well, I think she just spun. The track's a little greasy, and she just spun in that, but we've developed a miss in the engine. I don't know if it's got a broken spark plug or a plug wire that came off, maybe. The problem is it's lost a cylinder. It's not mechanical. I don't think that'll be an issue. I think she can finish the race, but you know, you're down one cylinder to everybody else. So.
Amy trying to get all the points she can here on the streets of Detroit and Belle Isle.
And unfortunate for Amy Ruman. A lot of times when you get those cars spun out and rolling backwards, it can make that engine actually fire backwards, and you never know what she could have hurt.
Tough break indeed. Amy Ruman trying to get her first victory of the season. It will not come today here at Belle Isle. Good battle, though, for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Tommy Dreese sits 3rd, Simon Gregg 4th. 5th spot to A.J. Hendrickson. Now Dreese starting, because he's been so consistent, I think, Mike, starting to stretch it out a little bit here.
Yeah, we see the field actually spreading out a little bit. Ernie Francis Jr. doing what he did last time, get out a little bit of a lead. Not sure if he's just managing that position with Allegretta, or Allegretta's just got the speed to hang on to Ernie Francis. But either way, that gap stays pretty similar. But Tommy Dreese's making a little run at him.
Closing in on halfway of this 1-hour timed event, 100 miles the distance for a Trans Am event here on the streets of Detroit. I'm so impressed with Ernie Francis. We've watched him in TA4, 3 consecutive championships, more than 20 race victories over the last couple of seasons. But honestly, the talent pool in TA4 different from what you have in Trans Am. These are the lead dogs. This is the traditional Trans Am race car. Now in its 51st season of competition, by the way, to move up as a teenager from a TA4 Mustang into this, man, you jumped a couple of steps on the ladder there.
Oh, it's a huge jump. But one thing that Ernie Francis Jr. has, even with his young age, is a lot of experience. He races in all different kinds of forms of motorsports, you know, from karting to Spec Miatas, the World Challenge, the TA, being a champion. He's got a lot of experience.
Francis is your leader. Allegretta and Dreese, the rest of the top 3 here at Belle Isle.
Trans Am on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Speedcom Communications. For 20 years, the world leader in motorsports radio and communications systems.
We are back on the streets of Detroit, Belle Isle to be specific, in the midst of the Detroit River. I'm Rick Benjamin, NASCAR star Michael McDowell alongside Ashley Van Dyke with our coverage on pit road. Ernie Francis Jr. as we hit the halfway mark, stretching his advantage, bidding for his 3rd Trans Am victory in his maiden season in this category. Here's more with Ashley Van Dyke.
Ernie Francis, father of Ernie Francis Jr., took the pole and just laid down his fastest lap of the race. How's Ernie saying the car is now?
Actually, he's not saying much. He's just really comfortable driving. We're telling him to just take it easy, just drive the car, stay in front, keep a good pace. Don't overpush the car, and keep yourself at a distance with the other drivers.
Smart advice from the father. Ernie looking to make it 3 in a row here in Detroit.
Well, that sounds easy to do. All right, here's what we need you to do, son. Don't hit anything, but go flat out and lead this race. You open up a gap, but do it smart and don't tear up your stuff. That's a lot to ask for a driver.
But so far, Ernie Francis Jr. has been spot on with all those recommendations. I haven't seen him put a wheel wrong here in Belle Isle. This may be the first time he's seen this place.
Well, absolutely. And like you said, we talked about him a lot. We talk about his age, but he's a champion, and he's doing what champions do. He's adapting, he's figuring it out, and he's doing it with speed.
On board here with Vinny Allegretta and his Chevrolet running second. Take a look at how that left front tire has to work on this machine.
Well, that's fun because you can see the concrete, you see the rumbles in it, and it bouncing around. That's a cool shot of that Pirelli tire.
Pirelli, of course, the new presenting sponsor and tire supplier here in Trans Am.
We're down here at the Pirelli display in the paddock with Orazio Mastracchio, Director of Motorsport for Pirelli. We saw you down at Sebring. You guys introduced the P0 tire here in Trans Am. How was that debut, and how has the season gone so far?
Well, the season has gone very well for us. This is new type of racing for us. We're really not used to running these type of cars. Everything is going well. Drivers and teams seems to be very happy with the product we introduced this year. So for now, everything is great.
And for the consumer level fans out there that are watching these cars and love Pirelli tires, what should they know about these P0s?
Well, this is the perfect showcase for us to show the consumer that Pirelli is not only a tire for high performance cars, but also for the everyday consumer cars or even the American muscle cars.
Glad to have Pirelli on board as the tire provider and the presenting partner of Trans Am America's Road Racing Series. Ernie Francis Jr. continuing to use those Pirelli P0s to the max here as he keeps that car pointed in the right direction. Ernie Francis Jr. came here a year ago for the very first time on Trans Am's return to Detroit. Won a TA4 race here, but this is a whole different animal. To come to this place and just be perfect all weekend, that's a phenomenal performance for a 19-year-old driver making his debut in big bore race cars. Let's find out more about Ernie Francis Jr.
Well, this is our first year in the TA class. We moved up from TA4 and TA3 in the last couple years after winning 3 championships in those lower classes. And we wanted to show what we had against some of these bigger teams and faster drivers in the TA class. I wanted to move the most that I could and try and make an impression that I could run the fastest cars out there, the most horsepower that's out there really running in the United States, horsepower-wise and car-wise. I wanted to show that I could handle that as a driver. This car on track is a real monster. I mean, compared to the TA4 car, we're making double the horsepower and weigh 500 pounds less than it. So it's a lot faster when we're on track. And for me, I just have to get used to being more steady with my right foot on the throttle. You can't just mat it as much as you want to. You have to be more careful with it because you have a lot of power that wants to light up those rear tires. It's kind of like the 1-year anniversary of us deciding to go into TA. Last year here at Detroit, we were paddock next to my chassis builder for this car, Mark Meisen, and he was supporting RJ Lopez out there. So I was looking at the car a little bit, I was spying on it, checking it out a little bit, and we went to a banquet Trans Am had at the Henry Ford Museum. And after that banquet, after seeing all the history of TA, my dad kind of went to me and said that maybe we should try it out. And that next day I went and sat in RJ's car. We set up another meeting with Mark Meisen and ended up building a chassis and got it all done, and here we are in TA now a year later. I just really love it. It's my passion. It's everything that I think about. I dream about it when I'm asleep at night. I was born into it. My dad was racing since before I was born, and I was going to the track when he was racing when I was a little kid, helping him get strapped in and trying to clean the cars. So, yeah, the whole reason I'm into racing is because of my dad. If I didn't have him in the beginning to push me into go-karts and get me little model cars when I was a little kid, and I had a race car bed, and if all that stuff didn't happen, I wouldn't be out here racing cars today. I've been around racing my entire life, and it's something that I just love with a deep passion, and it's something that I want to do for the rest of my life.
The story of Ernie Francis Jr., like a lot of us, a father-son situation. It is a family tradition to go racing, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's a family sport because it requires everything. I remember growing up, every single weekend we were at the racetrack. That meant that there was no other hobbies. The hobby was going to the racetrack, racing. It's a total commitment from the family, and it's great to have that support.
So much of the story for so many of the drivers in competition. We told you about Vinny Allegretta, his wife. Her initials on the side of that race car. TA Sights and Sounds, one of the family businesses that sponsors the 41 car. Vinny runs second behind Ernie Francis. We'll be back. Beautiful day for going racing here on Belle Isle in Detroit, Michigan. The three-dimensional services Motor City 100. Your leader is Ernie Francis Jr. just moving by. Here's your runner-up, Vinny Allegretta on the 41, the TA Sights and Sounds Chevrolet. Vinny from the New York area. He is losing time here on the racetrack to Ernie Francis Jr. Meantime, a tight battle for fourth. This is Simon Gregg out of Florida in the 59 and A.J. Hendrickson from Illinois in the 44. That Bob Tullius Tribute car, that Chevrolet, the ECC car. Hendrickson starting to reel in the fourth place car here. He's got a shot at Simon Gregg.
And this is where it all goes down. At the end of these races, the tires are sliding around. You're fighting for grip, and whoever manages that race the best and manages that tire wear the best can really pounce at the end. Looks like AJ might have something for Simon here.
Coming up on the final third of our 1-hour timed event, the Motor City 100, presented by Three-Dimensional Services Group for Trans Am. Simon Gregg, a past series champion. A.J. Hendrickson just kind of moving into Trans Am on a pretty much full-time basis the last couple of seasons, getting his feet wet in the bigger TA2 cars. But as you mentioned, Michael McDowell, he's run ARCA, he's run some NASCAR events. He's used to the high horsepower.
Absolutely, and I've seen him win a Silver Crown race too. So he's been in a lot of different forms of racing, big power, little power, and he adapts very quickly.
Good battle for fourth here. at Belle Isle. One of the things you'll notice about this circuit, there's some concrete sections here, some asphalt sections. This is older pavement, no matter how you slice it. So getting rubber down on this racetrack is pretty important.
Well, absolutely. And you have a lot of different classes racing on this surface over the weekend. You have IndyCar, you have open wheel feeder series. So there's a lot of different tires, a lot of different rubber onto the track, and you have to navigate that. The track is constantly changing. Your setups are changing. You have to stay on it throughout the weekend because every session you go out, it's going to be a little bit different.
Henriksen taking a look now to the outside of Simon Gregg. Not quite enough room to get a run on him there. Launching out of a corner here, since you have so many low-speed corners. That's a big part of this, isn't it?
You want a lot of rear grip. You want to drive. And what I mean by drive is a dragster. You got to imagine these little shredded...
Trouble for Amy Ruman once again. She is on pit road. Looks like this could be the end of the day for the two-time series champion.
And unfortunate for Amy Ruman. They've been fighting these mechanical gremlins all weekend. Finally going to end her day.
Amy unbuckling, gloves coming off. Kerry Hitt, meantime, about to go a lap down to Simon Gregg and A.J. Henriksen. Henriksen with an opportunity. Kerry's slower Cadillac here, giving Henriksen a chance to get right up on the back deck lid of the 59 car.
And absolutely, that's your opportunity. Traffic messes up with, your momentum. You're sort of in the rhythm, and that's what you need. Just something to break you off track a little bit where you can make that move.
This is a fight for fourth position here.
And AJ's doing it just right. He's faking left. He pops right. Perfect execution in the brake zone.
To the inside, Henriksen picks off fourth spot, takes over from Simon Gregg.
Now that didn't just happen, that was planned out. AJ did a perfect job, got in the mirrors, went left, then right. He's thinking about it, he's processing, how can I get Simon off track here? He did it great.
Now, Michael, we talked a moment ago about the launch out of these corners, how important that is. Henriksen had that car just straight enough to do that, didn't he?
Absolutely. You need drive off these corners like a dragster. You're looking for that forward grip.
Henriksen hoping for third here today. Ashley, meantime, before the start today, caught up with the event sponsor, Doug Peterson.
Doug Peterson, two-time Trans Am champion and CEO of Three Dimensional Services. Doug, tell us about Three Dimensional and your involvement here in Detroit.
Yes, Three Dimensional Services is a prototype, primarily automotive prototype provider, kind of the lower volumes, 10,000, 20,000 pieces. We're celebrating 25 years of being in business, which is a great accomplishment. We're sponsoring the Trans Am series here in Belle Isle, which we're really proud of. I'm originally from Detroit, and so I love the renovation of Detroit, and I want to participate in anything good for Detroit.
Well, we really appreciate your support here this weekend, and it should be some good racing on track. Thank you, Doug.
Doug, a former Trans Am Series champion. His car will be in action in the TA2 event coming up later on the weekend here in Belle Isle. Vinny Allegretta in the TA Sights and Sounds 41 moving by on the inside, getting by Jeff Hinkle's Dodge to put him another lap down. Race leader is Ernie Francis Jr., qualified on pole in the 98, the Breathless Performance Ford. He has led all the way so far, and pretty much he's been unchallenged. Ernie looking to pick up his third victory of 2017 here in Trans Am Series competition. And Ernie Francis Jr. continues to lay down very quick laps, Michael McDowell. He's not interested in saving that race car, it appears.
Well, we hope not at this point. He's going so fast, he can't possibly be saving the race car. But he's
trouble. Tommy Dreese in the War for the Planet of the Apes Ford. The 8 car has spun in one of the safe zones here. Tommy went off course by a good bit. That'll bring out at least a local yellow. So your third place runner looks like he had a problem.
Not sure what got him here, but let's take a look at this replay. Wow, appears to me Tommy Dreese just got in a little bit too deep, locked up the brakes, and spun it around.
Just missed the entrance to the corner.
And you could hear that last downshift. That last downshift wasn't quite clean. The rear tires start to hop, and you just can't stop once that happens.
Meantime, Ashley's caught up with our series champ.
Amy Ruman, not the outing you wanted here for round 4. Tell us what happened.
We had a good, strong start. I mean, I was a little far behind on the start, trying to catch up to the pack, but we made up time and got it. We were right in there, and then all of a sudden the motors started going off a little. So we tried to pit under caution and see if it was something simple, and they didn't see it, but the plug wire, I guess, started burning up, and that's what we lost. And it just kept getting worse and worse, and we just didn't want to beat up the car anymore. So unfortunately, our days ended early, but we'll get them at Indy.
Indianapolis next on the calendar for Trans Am, TA2, TA3, and 4. We'll have coverage of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway weekend, another history-making weekend for Trans Am coming up in a couple of weeks. Ernie Francis Jr., we mentioned he hadn't put a wheel wrong. How about this, Michael McDowell?
Wow, getting everything he can off that course, sliding the car, and you saw he was inches away from tagging that concrete barrier.
Ernie Francis gathers it back in. He's in front of Kerry Hitt's machine here. Hitt's Cadillac, his Cadillac CTS V-bodied car, a couple of laps down right now. So a close call for the race leader, but hey, sideways can be fast at a place like this, right?
Well, he's making it look good. If I was Ernie Francis Sr., I'd be getting on the radio right now. Okay, guy, you got a big lead. We just need to bring this thing home.
Don't need any wrinkled fenders on the 98 car at this stage of the situation. Beautiful fountain here, one of the iconic scenes on Belle Isle. Ernie Francis Jr., your leader. Back with more in a moment. Trans Am presented by Pirelli. Today here on CBS Sports Network, I'm Rick Benjamin with Michael McDowell. The Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix weekend, the three-dimensional services Motor City 100 for Trans Am machines, part of the weekend here. The head of motorsport for Chevrolet is Jim Campbell. Ashley caught up with him on pit road.
The automobile business has been pretty strong the last few years, and I would just say we'd love to use the racing platform because it's part of our history and heritage. The co-founder of the company, Louis Chevrolet, he was a car guy. He was an engineer, self-taught, but he's also a racer. Here we are 100 years later, Chevrolet's still focused and delivering on performance in racing. It's great to be here at the Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix. Trans Am running TA today, TA2 on Sunday. It's going to be great to see Corvettes and Camaros competing against all the crosstown rivals right here in Detroit.
Michael McDowell, you drive a Chevrolet in the NASCAR Cup Series. Jim Campbell, a pretty important guy in your world. He doesn't sign your paycheck, does he?
Well, he's definitely got a part of it. You know, this is a big weekend for Chevy. Obviously, Belle Isle bringing back the Detroit Grand Prix and having Chevy be a part of it. I know a lot of emphasis is on this weekend, and they got a lot of Chevys running on this track. A.J.
Henriksen has one of them in third behind Vinny Allegretta. Here's Simon Gregg putting Kerry Hitt's Cadillac another lap down. Simon sitting in fourth spot here. The clock winding down. Coming up on 5 minutes remaining. Time for another 3 or 4 laps of action here in Trans Am. It's a Ford at the head of the class, though. Ernie Francis Jr. in that 98 car. On board here with Simon Gregg on one of the straightaways at Belle Isle.
Now, if that doesn't make you a race fan, I don't know what will. Just hearing the motors, the downshifts, these cars are raw, they're fast, they got big tires, big horsepower. So much fun to ride on board right there.
Your Cup ride has a motor very similar to what we see in these Trans Am cars, 358 cubic inches, still carburetors here in Trans Am. These cars are quite a bit lighter than what you normally drive.
Not only lighter, but more downforce. They have a bigger tire, probably a little bit more acceleration, and they're putting that power down coming off these corners on this tough concrete bumpy circuit. It is not easy for a driver to navigate this type of track.
So many cars in road racing today utilize electronic traction control. Cup cars don't, neither do Trans Am cars. That makes it more fun, doesn't it?
Oh, for a driver, it's awesome because since I was 16 years old, and what do you want to do? You want to spin the tires, and that's what these cars do. They light up the tires, a lot of fun to drive.
The McNichols Chevrolet team of series champion Amy Ruman taking their race car back to the paddock after a day where they get a DNF, and Amy will not pick up any points on championship leader Ernie Francis Jr. If he can close the deal here at Detroit, pick up his third victory of the season, he'll add to his lead. There's Ernie Francis Sr., the rest of the Breathless Motorsports crew watching their driver wire the field right now. Less than 4 minutes of racing to go here today. Other than that brief slide where the rear end broke away a little bit on Ernie, he's been picture perfect all day. Tommy Dreese back on course, but lost a lot of time and apparently developed a problem in that spin.
Absolutely. Ernie Francis Jr. is executed all day. He's been dominant. He's had pressure at times. He's managed that well, managed the restarts. Today is a perfect points day for Ernie.
Back in the field at Kerry Hitt's car, the 19, the Cadillac, with some white smoke coming out of the back of it. White flag waving over Ernie Francis Jr. One more. Oh, and Kerry Hitt has spun on the last lap of the 19 car. He'll get that thing refired. It appears he's close to the groove there. He's got to be careful. Looks like perhaps some damage. Let's take a look at what happened. He and Jeff Hinkle fighting it out here, and Kerry spins
And this is just what we were talking about. How hard is it to put the power down in these TA cars? That shows it right there. A little bit too much throttle, and that's it. Spins right around.
These Pirelli P0 radials on the TA. Oh, and Ernie Francis Jr. has to jump on the brakes and make a quick move with the steering wheel to avoid Kerry Hitt, who has not yet gotten the 19 refired.
That's the last thing you want to see right there, is a driver sitting dead sideways.
So the Bonaconti Fund 98 of Ernie Francis Jr. all alone out front. Coming up next week, the AEM Infinity TA2 preview will show you TA2 action here on the streets of Detroit. Rafael Matos will drive the 87 car from Doug Peterson's group. Past series champions in the field. There's Adam Andretti, the Speed Logics Dodge team in action. Lawrence Loshak, the Loshak Stark cars. There's Cameron Lawrence's new ride, the 19. He's a two-time TA2 champion. Good to have him back in the show. We'll have that coverage for you in 1 week here on CBS Sports Network. Ernie Francis Jr. all alone out in front, just a couple of corners away from glory here at Belle Isle.
Absolutely. This will be the third win of the season if he's able to pull this off. A dominant year, and with Amy Ruman having troubles the last few races, this is going to stretch out that points lead, and we know he's going after the championship. One more win to add to it.
Ernie Francis Sr. and the Breathless Performance crew celebrating on pit road here at Belle Isle. Vinny Allegretta comes home second at his Chevrolet, the 41 car. But no one had anything today for Ernie Francis Jr., who wins the three-dimensional services group Motor City 100 for Trans Am machines at Belle Isle. We'll come right back and talk to the winner in a moment.
Trans Am on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Three Dimensional Services Group. Prototype, production, proven. By GoShare, your friend with a truck. And by Pirelli. Power is nothing without control.
Back at Belle Isle in Detroit, Victory Lane ceremony is about to get started here. Ernie Francis Jr., your winner for the third time in 2017. Ernie is with Ashley Van Dyke.
Ernie Francis Jr. comes out to Detroit. You won in Homestead, you won in Road Atlanta, you wanted to make it 3 in a row here this weekend, and it's your first time on a street course in a big horsepower car. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't be more happy with the result. We won here last year, and last year was actually when we decided to run TA. So a year later, we're out here, we just win the race. And yeah, I had to get used to all the power on the track, but once we nailed the setup, the car was just on rails, and I just drove it to the finish.
You progressed throughout the weekend. You started out a little slower, you nailed the pole, and you ran away with it today. How did you do that?
Yeah, it was just a race of being consistent and just staying off the walls. On a street course, you can't make any mistakes, so I just set a steady pace with the car and then just ran that consistently to the end.
Any thoughts going into Indy?
Yeah, we're looking for 4 in a row if we can. We're extending the points lead for the championship, so we're really going after the 4th one if we can. So it's looking pretty good so far.
Celebrations are in order down here for the number 98 Mustang Breathless Performance car. Good job, Ernie.
Thank you.
Third win of the season for Ernie Francis Jr. Vinny Allegretta runs second. Simon Gregg gets third because A.J. Hendrickson was disqualified at post-race inspection. Jeff Hinkle, Kerry Hitt round out the top 5. In Victory Lane, Ashley has caught up with our runner-up today here at Belle Isle.
Vinny Allegretta comes in with his best career finish in Trans Am presented by Pirelli. Second place, Vinny, tell us about your race.
It was a good race, you know, chasing Ernie off the bat. Was able to stay with him for a while, and then I faded a little bit, flat spotted the front tire, and then I just couldn't really keep that same pace going throughout the race. But I knew we had a good lead over third place, which swapped positions a few times. I'm not really sure exactly what happened there, but we had a great car, and I think if I didn't have a tire problem, we might have had something for him, but Ernie was on point.
This was your first street race. What are your thoughts, and how does it compare to the rest of the courses?
It's so different. It's really intense, and I actually really like it. Looking forward to more.
Good job today, Vinny. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Vinny Allegretta from Hampton Bays, New York, former autocrosser, said this was just a racetrack made for his style of driving. He is second in the championship now, but he is 28 points behind Ernie Francis Jr. Amy Ruman stays third at least.
That's a long championship, still a lot of racing to happen, but we didn't give Vinny enough credit today. He did a great job. He kept the pressure on Ernie Francis, and he comes home runner-up. That's a great, solid result.
And Simon Gregg picks up third after problems for A.J. Hendrickson late in the going. They had a great battle earlier in the day. Kerry Hitt survives the spin, comes home fifth. Great way to start our Trans Am coverage this season. Next week, TA2 from Belle Isle. For Michael McDowell, Ashley Van Dyke, I'm Rick Benjamin. We'll see you next time.